I will. I have no. Oh, I hate when it does that. I'm not even sure this will still work, but let's try it. Mom can actually hold that. It's running.
Say hi.
Tell me what kind of do you want a new car? You're in the dog house?
She wants a dolly house.
What's a dog house?
A dolly house.
Oh, what kind of dolls do you Where do you want dolls? Just one? Oh, that's interesting. How many rooms do you want in the doll? Just one? Oh, okay. Because you can have a kitchen and a bathroom, and I usually put the bathroom up on the second floor. You don't want the bathroom on the second floor? That way when you have to go, you have to run up the stairs. That's all.
No. Yes. You have to put the ground floor downstairs.
Put that downstairs. How about a bedroom? Would you like a bedroom? So, I know all about Santa Claus. They paid me for that a couple times. It was interesting. That was an hourly thing, you know. So lies. We tell lies, and not all lies are considered evil. It can be. It's fantasy. Go ahead.
This all reminds me of a great, very long quote from Hogfather by Terry Pratchett about the nature of lies and belief and the big lies and the little lies, and that humans need lies to be human.
I believe in the soul. Not sure what it is. Well, this definition gets thrown out. Socrates figures, he comes up with an explanation. Friend gives you his sword and shield and says, "Here, guard these while I go get drunk. If I'm drunk, don't give them back to me." And I gave them to your wife. She took them home. Basically, you get the idea. It's the car keys. Friend gives you the keys. If I'm drunk, don't give me the keys. But they come and they want keys. And, I gave them to I don't, because he's always taller than you and beat the crap out of you if you don't give him the keys. But you're trying to protect him and other people. So there are reasons for telling lies that are just. So that's not the definition of justice. So the next one that they go to is Geho, which is Geho, give to each his own. And they conclude, yes, that's justice. Give to each his own. So we want a society where everybody gets what's rightfully theirs. So how do we design a society for that? So then they move into the republic and try to figure out, okay, let's how do we create a society where it could be a just society? And you have four virtues. We talked about the virtues yet? Temperance. There's a group of people whose main desire is physical satisfaction, the physical needs. They like foods, they like pleasures, they like things houses, cars, etc., etc. Not going to be a good monk, basically, right? But their virtue is temperance because they need to know how much they have. How much is too much? You give out the pizza, you want everyone to have, a slice or two, but at the same time, you don't want one person to hog the whole thing. Right? You want it to be, everybody has to be temperate, and share, and all that sort of thing. So temperance is the one virtue. The second one is courage. Who needs to be courageous? Well, the militia, the police, fire department. Those folks need to be courageous because a society needs those people who are going to protect it against enemies, against criminals, against hazards and things. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to represent the military and go out and bomb those who are bombing the shipping. We can't let people bomb our shipping lanes, etc. Right? And that takes courage. And courage, by the way, you can have too much of it. You think of Fiery Hal in the Shakespeare play Henry V, right? Actually, education was much easier for Shakespeare than it is for you. It's much harder today than it was for Shakespeare. For one thing, Shakespeare didn't have to study Shakespeare. However, Fiery Hal has too much courage, right? The other virtue that a society needs is wisdom. You need the group of people that have the most wisdom to be in charge and rule things. This is Plato. Right? This is not democracy. This is an aristocracy. Aristoi are the best, and crassy is the ones who have the power. So an aristocracy should have a group of individuals that, and Plato calls them the philosopher kings. They're the wise ones, right? So they're the ones that should rule. By the way, these folks don't want stuff. They're perfectly fine living in a monastery, basically. Not really, but they don't need things. They're like Socrates. He could care less about all these goods in the shopping area and so on. He didn't need any of that. And then the main virtue of the whole society that is just is, of course, justice. So there's 4 virtues that come out of the Republic that are very important. And you end up with the individuals who have more desire for physical things are in the majority. The ones that are primarily motivated by courage, they're the ones that are kind of the next group. And you start off here. You grow out of this and you end up this way. Out of the majority come those who are going to be dedicated primarily by the social reward that comes with honor, doing things, getting the medals for having served and so on. And then wisdom is going to be the ones that have grown out of that and gotten to the point, they're probably at least 50 years old, basically. And their primary interest is in learning for the sake of learning and just finding out stuff is all that they need to keep motivating them. And then the whole society is supposed to be then just. If you can figure out a way to make sure everybody is in the niche where they belong and happy there. So creating a just society becomes the main goal of the Republic. But how do you sort people out into this kind of an arrangement? And Plato seems to think that the soul that a person has to begin with is already fixed in its nature. And so right from the get-go, you're already in your category. we should kind of give you as much as we can in order to see how you come out. So you end up getting education, and education is an important part of a just society. Everybody should get the same kind of education, men and women, by the way. This is a very feminist kind of philosophy, very unusual. And as far as I know, when you look at how society took this and went on with it, the Romans had their own version of the Republic, which was written by Cicero, and it's based on the dialogue, except that Cicero uses Romans instead of the Greeks that are in this dialogue. Cicero uses Romans instead. By the way, that's on the web as well. So you might get into the quiz question. Where does your character come from? Is it fixed? For Plato, it seems that it's already fixed. Some individuals already have the kind of souls that will lead them to fit in one particular part of the society, and others will fit in others. So that's where he comes in on that, argument about that. We're obviously in a different situation today because of all of our science. We're way advanced, but nonetheless, you could say a lot of this kind of philosophically remains with us. It continues on, right? Not only because it impacts, I think, Shakespeare didn't have to study Shakespeare in school. I think he only had 1 grade anyway. By the way, I'm a Baconist. Do you know what that is? I don't think William Shakespeare actually wrote any of Shakespeare. I think it was Francis Bacon that wrote all and used William Shakespeare as his fence, or whatever you want to call it, because Francis was a noble. He would have gotten in trouble for writing that kind of crap. It's just fun. Well, I suppose that's pretty much all we can do for today. We've only got about 5 minutes, and who wants to ask questions? By the way, did anyone get a chance to look at Bettany Hughes? Yes, you did? What did you think of her?
Since the dawn of civilization, the forces of nature and the whims of gods held sway over humanity.
2,500 years ago, humankind experienced a profound
But this
transformation.
video covers a really
Suddenly,
sweeping background of, well, this is the axial age promoting here, but talking about Athens, where Socrates lived,
Does not rely on
various things. Very good video. When we move on to Aristotle, I'll have a video that I think everybody will really love. It's called
across the globe,
Aristotle's
an ambitious
Lagoon,
vision of what humans could
and
achieve,
it's fantastic.
spearheaded by 3
If we don't believe in souls at all, do we say where character comes from?
precious and our view.
That's a good question. Yeah, if you don't have a soul, what do you think of as essential to yourself? We don't think of it as the body per se. You can lose a limb, right? You're still yourself.
The brain?
Well, that's what a lot of contemporary brain scientists like Stephen Picker would say. It's the brain. And the folks that believe in the orchestrated objective reduction theory would not disagree with that. It is the brain, but it's also other stuff that isn't in the that what we think of as here's your brain, right? Because the particles are not usually what we're thinking about when we're talking about the neural network and so on.
Have they actually been able to demonstrate any of this? I mean,
Well, you have to look at
it looks like a
the work.
hypothesis, but
Well, they are